Greg. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Welcome, one and all. I am in my car heading to the airport to get on an aeroplane for Commiefornia. And I'm really excited to go because I'm going to see my daughter. We are in dark MAGA mode. And here we go. Boy, oh boy. I tell you, this is just such a historic time that we're all living in. And I hope everyone appreciates it. And the historic time is Trump's second term. And everything we've hoped for, wished for, Trump promised us, it's all coming true. And he's doing it. And I'll give you an example, just some of the small things. Did you see this incident with Carolyn Leavitt, the White House press secretary, yesterday? This was perfect. You know what Trump is draining the swamp in areas that the swamp thought was impossible to drain it. And this moment with Carolyn Leavitt yesterday is a textbook example of that. We are in dark MAGA mode as I'm heading to the airport, so the street lights will illuminate me a little bit in a moment. I'm on a dark, lonely highway right now. So I'm watching this. Carolyn Leavitt with, I don't know who these two girls are, assistants of hers. She's the White House press spokesperson for Trump. And right before the inauguration, I read a tiny little blurb somewhere. I don't know if it was in an article or on a post on X that said that Carolyn Leavitt, the press secretary, was not going to have daily press conferences, and she was not even going to have an office in the West Wing. And then yesterday was the first time I've seen her near the White House. She's walking, looked like down the sidewalk, being followed by the press who were barking questions at her. And she wasn't answering too much. She had these two assistants with her. And the video started, after the action started. So I didn't see where she came from, but it looked like she very well may have come from the old executive office building, which is right next door to the White House. So I'm assuming her office is in the old executive office building. And she didn't really answer too many questions. And then she went into the West Wing, and that was it. And there are no press conferences scheduled. And I hope that's the way it is for the next 4 years. Any press conference that there is should be the president. And this may be the way moving forward. And if you notice, President Trump is doing so much. I'm not going to go through a list right now, but he's doing so much, and he's doing it so fast. And he's doing things so fast, the other side don't even have a chance to react to it, which is great. That's great. And he's also not coming out to the press and talking to them about it or making his case or arguing with reporters. He's just doing things. And one of the reasons that he's able to do so much so fast, it's many reasons, but one of the reasons is they're not having the White House press briefings. In fact, I was watching Fox last night. I was watching Laura Ingraham and the Five before that. And they were still talking about the Lady Bishop, right? That story was like over 24 hours old at that point. And the reason they were talking about the Lady Bishop still is because there haven't been White House press briefings. And Trump hasn't been going back and forth with the press. And the press secretary hasn't been going back and forth. And the traditional media don't know how to operate under this. And they have nowhere to go. They don't know how to handle it. They're not equipped. So, they don't have real reporters anymore. So that's spectacular. And you got to love it. By the way, if you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe. This is where MAGA comes to talk. My name is Brian Craig. It is a rainy day here in sunny South Florida, and it's cold. Rainy and cold. So this is all great stuff. I love it. And if he continues to not have, if there's a press conference, he should do it. There's no need to have a spokesperson come out there and do what's become a tradition at the White House. It serves no purpose other than to feed the monster that is the fake news legacy poison media that we have. So I love it. And he's had a couple press conferences himself already. That's how it should be. And Carolyn Levitt, I mean, nothing against Carolyn Levitt, but the little I've seen her, because I haven't seen her, I've seen her on Fox a few times. Yesterday was the first day I saw her with the press, during that walk to the West Wing. It was almost like a perp walk. They were chasing her, right? And Carolyn Levitt, nothing against her. She's done a good job for what Trump has hired her to do. But she's not the type that can go toe-to-toe with the press. She doesn't look like she's equipped to get in these debates with the press, and that's not an accident. Trump doesn't want that. It's not going to happen. So what he's doing is he's making the fake news media irrelevant and the 24-hour news cycle irrelevant. Traditional media, legacy media, mainstream media, whatever you want to call it, Trump is making them 100% irrelevant. And that's what we want. Like he did with the White House Correspondents' Dinner. That was another bit of poison that the media had going on. And in his first term, Trump did not do that. And it's faded away. Nobody talks about it anymore. It was a big event. And it barely makes the news. And he's going to do the same thing with the whole White House press corps. This is amazing. Another thing he did, which I talked about this months ago on the program, and maybe someone at Mar-a-Lago heard me talking about this, but he has fired a lot of the personal staff at the White House. Butlers, maids, servants, those kind of people. And I was talking about how he should do that months ago on the program. I've talked about it several times in the past months, and then he did it. And what I had said, and I'm sure this is what's on his mind, President Trump, these are the servants at the White House cannot be trusted. One, they're lifelong Washington bureaucrat staff types, right? They may not work at the State Department or the department of this or that, but they work at the White House forever, from president to president. So they're part of that Washington bureaucracy. But there's no one could convince me that the CIA, the NSA, the FBI, and all the three-letter agencies don't have undercover operatives working as butlers, maids, and other servants inside the White House. So firing all those people is beautiful. I don't know who he's replacing them with. Maybe some of his staff from Mar-a-Lago or his great, resorts around the world, because he has top-tier staff that can handle that much better than those White House people. And he can trust them because they're listening in. You got those career White House staffers that are working for the intelligence agencies. They're spying on Trump. That's why he got rid of them. So if you're just joining, I am heading to the airport to get on a plane to go to Commiefornia to visit my daughter today. And of course, the president will be in Los Angeles with me tomorrow. I hate flying, and usually what I do, I don't usually fly early in the morning. I usually fly later in the day, and I was going to catch a flight last night, but if I would have done that, by the time I would have gotten there, I would have been up for about 24 hours, almost, and I would have just gone to sleep. So I thought it was best to get a good night's rest and fly out in the morning early, because I'm up early so much in the morning. And when you fly to the West Coast from the East Coast, it's great, you know. You make up so much time. It's like, you know, on the way back you lose time, which sucks. But I'll be back on the air on Monday on the radio. I'll be live streaming and making YouTube videos while I'm out on the West Coast. But what I usually do when I fly is, because I usually fly later in the day, because I really do not like flying. I wouldn't say that I'm afraid of flying. It's not that I'm afraid of flying. It's just, it just sucks. It's a pain in the ass. The planes suck. The airport people suck. It just sucks, right? It's like taking the Greyhound bus. I just don't like it. So what I usually do is get to the airport early and have a few drinks. And before I get on a plane, I'll have 2, 3, maybe even 4 top shelf screwdrivers. And I'm going to the airport lounge, one of the airport lounges when I go there, which, you know, when you go to the airport lounges, it's free food and drinks. It's, well, free. I know it's included with however you're a member with the lounge. But I don't know if they serve alcohol at this hour of the morning. I'll find out. Because if they do, I'm going to have a couple drinks before I get on this plane. No doubt about it. But I doubt it. I'll probably be stuck drinking coffee. But the way President Trump is handling everything is complete perfection. Complete perfection. I'm going to start coming out to California a little more often this year to visit my daughter. And I might set it up where I can do the show from California when I'm visiting. Maybe not this or the next trip, but maybe the trip after the one after the next. I'll think about it. My daughter was suggesting I do that so I could stay longer. But no, everything Trump is doing is total perfection. And, you know, these deportations that they've started with, Trump is so freaking smart. So freaking smart. And the people he has around him in the second term are the best of the best in every category, like Tom Homan, our borders are. And this is the thing. This is really so smart what the president's doing right now, okay? So the deportation started, and you've seen the stories, 300 or so. And these are bad dudes they've been picking up from all over the country. And I know a lot of people are saying, oh, so what, 300? There's over 20 million that Biden's brought in. Well, what he's doing is it's a slow ramp up, starting with criminals, the worst of the worst. And by the time he gets to the the huge deportations, people will be so used to it, it's barely going to make the news. And there's a snowball effect going on with it. He started the border wall construction. See, in the first term, he would have come out and he or the press secretary would have come out and announced that they were starting wall construction today or tomorrow. And then there'd be an argument. Then there would be debate all day on television. And they're not, since he's not feeding the media with press conferences with the White House press secretary or going out there making the case before he does things himself, It's happening. Another thing we're seeing is what what jerks these rhinos were. This is what the first term would have been like if it wasn't for that, well, let's just face it, assholes, Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell. Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell stopped Trump from getting things done. We had the Congress in the first term for the first 2 years. And now that we've got MAGA Mike Johnson, we've got a good Senate leader, we're getting things done. We don't have these obstructionists in our own party. It's beautiful. It's the second Trump term is running like clockwork, and there's no doubt about it. He has done more already than most presidents do in 4 years. I'm sure he'll go to the wall when it's completed. He may stop by on his way back from California. Oh, and on top of all of that, if you've seen the snow in Florida, he's ended global warming at the same time. The snow in Florida is not fun and games, okay? It's in northern Florida and in the Panhandle, and along the Gulf of America coast, there's snow on the beaches. And everyone's watching it on the news around the country, and oh, it's so cute, it's so fun. Those of us that are Floridians don't know how to drive in snow. And it's very dangerous. If it were snowing, we don't have tires for it, and we don't know how to drive in it. And I saw some videos online this morning from local news in Florida of quite a few car accidents because of the snow. If it was snowing in this part of Florida, I wouldn't be on the road right now. It's, but I'll tell you, I saw DeSantis last night with, was it Ingram he was on? And he said one thing I'll agree with. The kids are going to remember the Florida blizzard of 2025 for the rest of their lives. It snowed in Florida when I was a kid. I moved to Florida in '82. I started 5th grade in Florida in 1982. And it snowed in Florida, in South Florida, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, 77, 78. And I remember that winter in Ohio, we had a blizzard. It was over New Year's. And people like my wife, she's a native Floridian. She remembers that. Yesterday I was over at Friendly Tire talking to Friendly Mike at Friendly Tire, and he was telling me about getting let out of school on that day that it snowed in Miami. He said it was 77. He's a couple years older than me, so he remembers it pretty well. I thought it was 78, but he was here and he remembers it. And the snow, and that was nothing like the snow they're getting now. So Trump has also ended global warming. If it's snowing in Florida, I think we can safely say global warming is over. Yeah, if you're just joining me, I'm on my way to catch a jet plane to Commiefornia. I was going to go a couple weeks ago, but postponed it because of the fires. I don't know if I'm going to get a view when I land, because I don't know what direction I'm going to be coming in. But when I leave, I'm going to leave... when I fly back home to Florida, usually you fly out over the ocean. I know I'll get a good view when I'm coming home from the plane. Not that it's something good to look at. But there's make no mistake about it. Willie Brown's girlfriend's planning on running for governor of California. You know, when Richard Nixon lost in 1960, which is a whole nother story. Remember, Nixon lost the 1960 election. Then he went out to California, ran for governor, and lost. And when he lost the governor's race in California, that's when Richard Nixon's famous quote, "You're not going to have Dick Nixon to kick around anymore?" And then he came back and became the president twice. That's not going to happen with Kamala. Now, these idiots in California will probably elect her. Let them have her. If California elects Kamala, they deserve her. It's pretty cold in Florida. But my daughter said the weather's really nice in California. She said it's t-shirt weather. At least it was yesterday when I was talking to her. Hold on, I gotta pay attention here so I don't miss the turn. Now, if you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe. This is most definitely where MAGA comes to talk. If you go through my content here, you'll see what I mean. This is the greatest time, man. I tell you, Trump is absolutely amazing. Just absolutely amazing. I mean, look at all he's gotten done in just a couple days, and he doesn't even have his cabinet in place. And then, hold on a second, here's this is the part where I can either add or shave 10 minutes onto the drive. Okay, here we go. Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, is going to Panama, putting Panama on notice. We're taking the canal back. Now, Trump may not play, I brought with me to read on the plane The Art of the Deal. I've read it before a long time ago, but a couple months back, a listener sent me a brand new paperback of The Art of the Deal, and I'm going to read it again. It's a long flight, so on the way there and on the way back, maybe I'll get through the whole thing. I read The Art of the Deal during the first campaign, so that was a long time ago. So it'll be like reading it for the first time. That's a long time ago. So much has happened. I'm sure I'll have even a greater appreciation reading it this time than the last time. Dark MAGA mode. Do you think the airport lounge serves alcohol at 5 in the morning? I'm going to find out. I have not flown without alcohol in my system. Well, one time I flew after 9/11 without alcohol in my system. I flew to DC with my daughter when she was 9, and because I was traveling with her, I did not drink. But that was the only time. But I'll tell you one thing that really pisses me off. You know, it takes longer to fly to the West Coast now than it used to years ago. The planes fly slower to save fuel. And that really pisses me off. It depends, but it usually adds about 30 minutes to the flight. And, you know, I remember like back in the 70s and in the 80s even, you know, all the talk was in the year 2000, because remember it was like in the year 2000, for 20 years they would talk about how things were going to be in the 21st century. And by 2025, we were supposed to get from the East Coast to the West Coast like in an hour on space planes. And now they're flying slower to save fuel. It sucks. You know, I keep my schedule busy. And that extra half an hour to 45 minutes in the plane, you know, that's just a waste of freaking time to me. And it really pisses me off. Okay, hold on. Getting close to the airport exit. I don't want to miss it and my terminal. I look away for a split second. I know what the terminal number is, but I want to make sure. And I don't want to miss the turn. Then I'll have to loop around the airport. Yeah, so when the weather's been really bad here in Florida lately. When the weather warms up a bit and we have sunny days, on one of the next couple of weekends, I'm going to drive over to, I was talking about this yesterday, I'm going to drive over to the Gulf of America. I'm on the east coast of Florida. I'm in South Florida. So it is on the west coast of Florida. Hold on a second. There's like freaking 10 lanes. I'm not sure which one I need to be in. I don't fly out too often. I come here, I park at short-term parking, and pick my daughter up. Now that's a bit confusing. Arrivals and self-parking? Is that long-term? Let me see. No, I'm in arrivals. I need departures. When I pick people up at the airport, I always park and meet them at baggage claim. Do you guys, when you pick people up at the airport, do you park and then meet people inside the airport at baggage claim, or are you one of those cheapskates that don't want to pay to park and drive around the airport? I am not going to valet, which I probably should, but I'm not. I'm in the wrong lane. I gotta cross 3 lanes. This is why. Let's see. All right. I don't mind if, and when I take people to the airport, I park too, if there's time. Okay. Let's see. Long term. Let's go to this one. Yeah, here's somebody here hanging out on the street. Short term, long term. All right. $20 a day. I remember it used to be $8 a day. I'm not a big fan of the cheapskates that do. I think it's nice to pick people up at the baggage claim. Help them with the luggage. Hold on a second, guys. Okay, I got my ticket. But where do I want to go? Oh, this is perfect. Perfect. Oh, this is perfect. Perfect. Now, of course, I always bring my old car to the airport. Oh, great. And there's a cart right there. This is awesome. Oh, I don't need the cart. All right. This is awesome. I got a space right in freaking front. Isn't that awesome? And I got my ticket. Well, listen, guys. Like I said, I will be around while I'm gone. I will be live streaming while I'm gone. You know, my daughter's not on East Coast time. I'm going to stay on East Coast time because I'm just there for a couple days. So I'll be live streaming early in the morning, West Coast time. Not so early on the East Coast, but I'll be live streaming while I'm gone, while I'm waiting for my daughter to get up, and we'll talk because there's so much going on. And I may have another stream before I get on the plane. But what do you guys think? Now, I know I asked this, but I couldn't read the chat. Do you think the airport lounge serves alcohol at 5 a.m.? What do you guys think? I don't know. I hope that they do, because I could use a couple drinks. Yes. Whiskey says yes. All right, guys, I'll see you.